I was getting ready to leave my hotel room in Amsterdam, but the door wouldn't open with my key card. So I called the front desk and asked them to help me. They came over and they tried to open the door, but they couldn't open it. So they called the maintenance guys. Two strong guys came and tried to open the door from the outside, but they couldn't open it either. And I'm just sitting there on the bed in the hotel room for 45 minutes asking myself if today is the day that I'm going to go out through the window, second floor. So eventually they knocked down the door by breaking it out of the frame. It was crazy, and when these things happen to you when you're traveling alone, it's not fun. So number one, the fact that it's difficult doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to do. We've all got just one life to live, so just go ahead and do the things that you want to do, which might be traveling to somewhere you've always dreamed of, even though you don't have a partner or a friend to join you, or moving to a different country, or investing in real estate. If you don't like the life you have now, you can create a new version of it, but you have to go out there and do new things. There's no other way to do it. You can't just sit at home and figure it all out in your head. The stress and the cringe that you feel when you do things that you've never done before, it's real. But it's also exactly in these moments that you grow as a person, become more resilient, stronger, and more capable. And that makes you feel more respect for yourself, and you trust yourself more because you're handling situations that you wouldn't normally experience when you're sitting in your comfortable living room doing the same routines that you've always done. Number two is all about deciding which price you're willing to pay. The way I see it, you need to make a choice. You can decide to pay the price of feeling anxious, feeling cringe, and feeling the chaos of not knowing what's next. And I'm not saying it's easy to go through these feelings. It's very tough and it's very challenging. But if you don't go through these feelings and you don't go out there and do the things you're dreaming of, you will regret it in the long run. You will regret the opportunities you've missed. You will probably be bored with your life, and you might even be depressed because you have nothing exciting to look forward to. The problem is that most of us get stuck. We spend a lot of time preparing to go out there and do the things that we want to do. We research for ages, we take another workshop, we talk with our friends about it, we join Facebook groups of people who've already done it. We're gathering every piece of information instead of taking action. We tend to wait for that perfect timing before we give ourselves permission to start. But at the end of the day, we can't have all the answers before we do anything, and we can't have complete certainty. Which leads us to number three. Being brave is not the opposite of being afraid. In the last 7 years, I've been doing so many things that were way out of my comfort zone. I invested in real estate. I managed the renovation of 2 of my properties. I learned how to manage tenants. I rented a car and drove in countries which I've never visited before. And I'm not special in any way. If I can do it, everyone can do it. I was scared shit each and every time, but I just don't want to live what feels to me as small life, limited by my fears. Oprah Winfrey once said that the biggest adventure that you can take is to live the life of your dreams. And it's only if you go through these feelings, stress, anxiety, uncertainty, not ignoring them, letting them come up, taking time to listen to your feelings. You have to realize that there will be times when you'll need to take a pause and do some inner work to fix your mindset. Being scared and anxious is totally okay because things will happen. I'm not going to tell you that everything is going to be okay. It will be okay if you make it okay. I once had a flat tire while I was driving by myself in one of the back roads in Portugal, and it was almost dark. So I called the rental company to come pick up the car, and I called my friend to come and pick me up from the middle of nowhere. And it was okay in the end, but it was quite stressful while it happened. And I've learned that when you go through these things but you don't give up, that's when the magic happens. It's like the universe is testing your commitment. Number 4 is to realize that there's no such thing as not taking any risks. It's true, the world is a dangerous place and you need to do your own research and think before you act and only take calculated risks. But as strange as it might seem, it's more dangerous dangerous to stand still and not move forward. It's dangerous because you're becoming dependent on a job you don't like or on a relationship that you feel isn't working for you anymore, and you're not growing your skills. It's dangerous because you're standing still in a world that is constantly changing faster than it ever did before. We're living in a different world right now. For instance, the AI revolution, which is going to reduce the need for so many jobs. So I hate to break it to you, but bad things can happen even if you stay put and continue doing the same things in the same setting that you think is safe for you. So you might as well take the risk and go after your dreams. If you're getting value from this video so far and you're inspired to be more adventurous in your life, please do me a quick favor. Just click on the like button below. It helps with the algorithm and the ranking. And why not subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so? If we want to have an honest conversation about changing our lives, we need to talk about the major role that people surrounding us have in giving us permission to start the journey. It's pretty wild when you think about it, right? Some people can be so supportive and pushing us to reach for the stars, but others can hold us back. Which brings me to number 5. When you start doing things differently in your life, it can make some people very uncomfortable. It's like they're used to seeing the old version of you, and when you break away from that, it confuses them. And it's crazy how sometimes we hold ourselves back from doing things just because we're afraid of what other people will think of us. Why are you putting the possible judgment or thoughts of someone else ahead of something that's going to make you happy? I want you to stop caring about what your friends think, what your family says, anyone. You need to be putting yourself first. It's the most powerful thing you can do. Now that we've removed that roadblock, the next step is always having motivation to sustain the changes in your life and not just relying on willpower. Let me break it down. First, you start by identifying the person you want to become. For instance, you want to become a digital nomad and travel the world, or you want to become physically fit and take part in marathons or hiking, whatever. And then you're essentially designing that future self, where you're living, how you spend your day, and who are the people that surround you in that ideal future version of you. Now, step 2 is taking the leap and becoming that person right now, allowing that vision to shape who you are right now in the present. Any question, any doubt you have, you solve by asking yourself, what would the future version of me do? Lastly, there's a book called The As If Principle by Richard Weissman, which I read at the time. He says, and it's all backed with research, that if you act as a certain type of person, you will become that person. The principle is based on the idea that our thoughts and our feelings often originate from our actions and not the other way around. You can't think yourself out of a negative situation or a negative belief just by positive thinking. But you can act yourself out of a negative belief. And in simple words, this means that changing your behavior first can lead to changes in what you believe is possible and to changes in how you perceive yourself. I hope that makes sense. So for example, if you act more confident or very social, you will eventually become more confident and less shy just because of the power of repeating these actions, which change your thoughts and feelings, which eventually change your personality. If you enjoyed this video, go watch my other video about moving to Portugal alone, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.